Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Crypto Convo. This is your host, Liam, with my co-host, Taiki.
How's it going?
And today we have some exciting news. First, we want to start off with the big news as far as crypto goes. We recently surpassed a $2 trillion total market cap for the entire crypto market. So
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. It essentially like the entire crypto market is worth as much as Apple, like the company. Like I think the Apple stock is worth $2 trillion ish, like roughly. So and if you think about it that way, like for me personally, like obviously I'm a crypto bulltard, but like the crypto ecosystem is worth much more than like the Apple the company. So in terms of like this emerging ecosystem, um, we're still early.
so early.
Like if you have like a 20-year time horizon, like we are like so early. If you think about it, like in terms of like this particular bull market, right? In this current one, I don't know where we are. I still think we're early in that one, right? So I feel like in the overall picture, we're like in the first inning, right, of mass adoption. But maybe in this cycle, we're in like the fourth inning, right? Which is still early. Yeah, like we still have a long way to go. Like I still believe in, like like low six-figure Bitcoin and like Ether can maybe like 8,000, just like random numbers I'm just like throwing out. But I think this cycle is going to surprise a lot of people. It's to the upside.
Yeah, for sure. And this is something that I keep telling people, like $2 trillion. And if you look at actually what's being built in the crypto ecosystem, it's nowhere near complete like Apple is. Like Apple's I'm pretty sure Apple is probably past their prime like their prime hump. Like
Yeah,
I
they're trying
think,
to innovate with like Apple cars and stuff,
yeah, they're
and
trying
like
to
they're doing
reposition
great
themselves.
stuff. Yeah, and like they're making their own chips. Like they like said, "Fuck you, Intel, we're out of here," and like we're gonna make our own chips, which is like pretty innovative in its own right. But yeah, Apple in terms of growth, like why would you own Apple stock over like Bitcoin
Yeah,
or Ether?
because if you look at Apple, it's pretty much a finished product. Like it's been finished for quite a few years, and they're innovating and they're pivoting, which there's still growth available. But when you look at what's going on in the crypto world, I mean, there's like nothing's even close to being done, and
Yeah,
and there's still so much to be built. And so the fact that it's already at 2 trillion, it just shows you, like, just imagine when Ethereum is scalable. And
yeah,
there are apps that work and everybody can use it on a retail level. And there's so much, when things like latentry get implemented, and it's just so much. I mean, I think in 3 to 5 years, I don't know, like market cap of like 30 to 50 trillion. I don't know if that's ridiculous in like 10 years. Just
yeah. I mean, yeah, that's a lot of money to flow into the crypto ecosystem. I think it's all dependent. I mean, in the shorter term, like in the next 10 years, it's all dependent on Bitcoin.
yeah, for
I
sure.
think I think like other like Ether and like Polkadot, like everything else is kind of dependent on Bitcoin being in a bull market. Like I assure you, if Bitcoin enters a bear market, like everything's gonna dump, right? Even though Ether is developing, like they're scaling, there's all these products being built. If Bitcoin dumps, then like the entire
Oh, for
market
sure.
will dump. So I feel like in 20 years, it could be like it can diverge, right? Like Bitcoin will do its own thing. It'll be like digital gold, and like Ether, like DeFi as its own like ecosystem will like will have pumps like its own market cycles, right? Because right now, the entire crypto
Is one
space
asset.
is one crypto cycle, but in the future, like Bitcoin will be like this boring digital gold that will be valued at like 6 figures, 7 figures, or DeFi is going to like have all these like crazy cycles, which I think that's really exciting because it's as the market matures more, there's going to be like room for more innovation and like therefore like more adoption. And yeah, I think we can talk about like the Visa news like as part of the adoption. But yeah, like I believe that Visa is now using like USDC on their backend, and indirectly is using Ethereum. So there's like this meme in crypto Twitter where like oh like Visa is paying gas on Ethereum, like the institutions are here. Uh, in reality, like Visa is actually like not interacting with Ethereum directly. they have a partner, Crypto.com, and they have customers, and like they're settling in USDC, and like Visa has customers and like with Crypto.com, so like it's not like people are like paying with like Visa
Yeah. They're
using
not.
USDC, but it
Yeah.
just shows that like Visa is like tinkering, experimenting with like stable coins on Ethereum, and maybe if this pilot program goes well, you know we can one day open a Visa account, deposit USDC into it, earn like 5% APY, and like use it as a debit card.
Yeah.
That's a
That's
dream.
the dream. Yeah, 100%. And then so we're just seeing, some obviously there's a lot of news coming out every week with the institutions, Visa, and then also PayPal. They're starting to that's a little more. I say that's a little
Oh
more
yeah,
blunt. They're letting people use crypto to check out. I don't think it's as
yeah.
big as if Visa was letting us spend USDC on the Visa card, but it's definitely something. And then Goldman Sachs, I guess they're starting to offer the
Yeah, all the banks are like
yeah
opening Bitcoin custody, like whatever. I mean,
yeah
if rich people want access to Bitcoin, then they kind of have to open up. Yeah, I think PayPal is like really cool because like I think in the future, like I can pay you like with Bitcoin. I feel like no one's gonna pay with Bitcoin because everyone wants to hold it. But
no
like it's funny because like you can buy like Bitcoin Cash or like a Litecoin uh, uh, through PayPal, and you can pay people with Litecoin, which I think is kind of ridiculous. But it's just like it's just adoption, right? Like people are being more open to like crypto, buying crypto, and like using it as a currency.
And so, a good question, because obviously, crypto being integrated into these centralized companies like a Visa or a PayPal, who's like, what does that defeat the purpose of crypto, or like, what's the benefit for each side? Do you feel like, I feel like, PayPal and Visa, they obviously have the network, the users, but the crypto, they don't necessarily need those networks to function, right? Because they already function by themselves. I guess
But
they just need the
it definitely needs. I mean, for crypto, if you like you said earlier, like if crypto wants to grow to $20 trillion, like it has to have like adoption via banks. Like
yeah.
DeFi will never be big if like all you can do is like MetaMask. Like
No, for sure.
that friction is too much.
It really is.
I think
Dharma's doing a good job.
yeah, but
Have you
Dharma's
checked
like
out
tiny.
Dharma?
Yeah, but like Dharma has like no penetration if you look at the entire big picture. So I think in terms of like I think PayPal and Visa and like
Oh
MasterCard,
yeah.
Square, they're just tinkering with it. Square can be like a MetaMask, like a
Yeah.
wallet, like the Cash App in the future. Like I think Jack Dorsey like actually understands crypto better than any CEO in like the top S&P 500. Um, and it's just like
So it's overall bullish for sure
yeah, I
because
think people are
they're
like way
bringing the
too
network.
yeah, I think people are way too bullish because they just assume everything's gonna happen like all at once. I think it's gonna take like many years for like
Oh,
all this to happen. But like it's just it's good to see these things happening because it just builds more conviction. Like last year, like when I bought Bitcoin, like I told myself I would sell at 100K, but like through all this news, like Tesla, MicroStrategy, Visa, PayPal, like I got diamond hands. I'm gonna hold. So I mean, I'll sell some probably, but like at 100K, but I'll always have like a significant amount of crypto as part of my net worth. I just feel like that's the most logical thing to do, as weird as that
yeah.
sounds.
Well, I agree. I think long term certain crypto assets, there will be a lot that go to zero, but I think certain crypto assets will even outperform. I mean, it's already outperforming the stock market, like Bitcoin has outperformed the stock market for the last decade, but I think that trend will continue for maybe a couple years or at least a couple decades, actually, maybe our lifetime. But let's talk about, Taiki. I think one thing that we've realized is the power of community, because
Yeah,
I know you have an interesting story and how we met and how you actually met a lot of other cool people and what's
yeah,
the value that's brought to you.
yeah. Like for me, like at the beginning of this year, I was very convinced that this year is a year of crypto. So I just like I play poker for a living, but I just like stopped playing poker. I was like, fuck it. Like I'm just gonna study crypto and like or like study this like 10 hours a day, like whatever. Like fuck it. And I was like, you know what? Like I'm learning so much, I might as well make YouTube videos and like maybe I'll build a personal brand and meet people, right? And some of my videos do poorly, some of my videos do well. I think the best one was the Keeper DAO fundamental analysis. I think that one has the most views. And I actually had many people reach out to me personally, like yourself included, because you thought that video was really interesting and you wanted to talk. And like this podcast happened because like I made that video and like you reached out via Twitter. Like
Yep.
actually, I didn't even have a Twitter. Like you actually, but like I made it because I had a YouTube channel. I might as well, like use it for like crypto Twitter and whatnot. And I also met like, this person, Steven, who's like a hedge fund guy living in Texas. Like I would never have met this guy, but he saw my video. He thought it was interesting, and I talk to him almost every day. He has like this. He covers like internet stocks for the past 10 years, so he has like a really good understanding of like how like cycles work and like how adoption curves work. And he's really helped me like understand like how these projects will accrue value. And I also met this guy named Connor. He he's like I think he's like 22 or 21, and he's like
Mm-hmm.
full-time crypto. And all he does, he literally sleeps like 4 hours a day, and he 20 hours a day he's like studying crypto. He's like this encyclopedia of like this crypto information. I'm like to him like I'm like, have you heard of this project? And he's like, oh yeah, that's the one that does this, right? I'm like, oh okay, I guess you know about everything. And I also talked to him every day. And like these people, he lives in Canada. Like I would never have met these people, but by putting myself out there, I was able to, be open to like talking to people. I feel like if you're a YouTuber that makes like stock videos, like covering like I don't know, like SPACs and like whatever IPOs, like you'll I don't think you'll have as many people like reach out to you personally. And the cool thing about crypto is that like crypto like projects are really reliant on adoption, right, and marketing. Like if no
Mm-hmm.
one knows about your protocol, like it's the price will not go up and like the community will not grow. So I've had a couple instances where like team members of projects, for example, Parsec, they like saw my video, thought it was interesting, and shared it with the community. And like I don't think any stock, like any like executive at a stock will like share someone's YouTube video because they think it's good, right? Like I mean, it's just a very more it's more open, it's more transparent, and by putting yourself out there, it allows you to meet like new people, opportunities, talk to people, because I think we all have a thesis in our minds of like, okay, Bitcoin's doing this, Ether's doing this, and like I'm bullish Chainlink or something, right? But if you talk to like someone with like a different perspective, you like start to learn more about, okay, like maybe like I was uber bullish sushi, but maybe like Uniswap might be a better risk adjusted play in terms of like betting on a DEX, stuff like that. Uh, so yeah, just like put yourself out there. I know like I'm an introvert, so like it's not like easy for me to be like to be tweeting all the time, but uh, meeting you, meeting Connor, meeting Steven, it's all been like really positive like reinforcement to like really try to put yourself out there, build a personal brand, and put your ideas out. Because if you have a good idea, people will resonate and they'll reach out to you, and you guys will talk, and maybe something great comes out of it. Like, what are your thoughts? I know you also have a Facebook group and stuff.
Yeah. No, I'm with you 100%. I mean, as far as any, it's not necessarily, I would say, for folks listening, it's not necessarily that you have to build your personal brand, but just definitely be involved in communities and try to get in communities. Because I'm in a couple of Facebook groups where it's just total garbage. Like all they do is like shill coins and pump and like talk
Yeah.
about like shit coins, and I'm like, oh god. And nobody has a thoughtful discussion. They just say, should I buy this? How's my portfolio look? I'm like, oh. And I've left quite a few of those. But definitely try to join and be a part of communities that are having thoughtful discussions, that are not just talking about the price and where the price is going to go tomorrow, right? To get talking to people about what the use cases of stuff like, and how it actually works in a real world sense, and how it will help the adoption and growth of crypto in a whole. So Yeah, I started this podcast with Taiki because, I was trying to do daily videos, but my schedule just doesn't really allow for it because, I have a job. Sometimes I can stay super late and not have time to make the video consistently. So I reached out to you to obviously, because I know that you're definitely smarter than me in some aspects of crypto, I'd say for sure. So I wanted to tap into you, and then obviously people that are smarter than you, and so
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like when you reach out to people and wanting to learn, and then you also like I wanted to give Taiki somewhat of a platform because I have a little bit of a following on Facebook. So I share some stuff, and I'm sure there's a couple hundred or thousand people that may see what I post, not necessarily act on it, but it's just a part of marketing, right? So just keep
Yeah.
posting and keep showing up, and
Yeah.
eventually
And like,
people will follow.
yeah. And like, I guess like, our parents and like schools teach us to, like, if you want value, you have to give value. And like, I feel like I come from a poker community, right? And poker community can be pretty toxic because like everyone has their own strategy, and it doesn't make sense for them to
To
share
share it.
others their strategy because like, that's how they make money, right? Like everyone makes money because they have an edge. Like I don't really want to give away my strategy because like that's what makes me good. That's what makes me money. So like it's pretty toxic in that way where like people just talk a lot of shit, but like they don't really like have thoughtful discussions about like what's good and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But in crypto, I feel like it's crypto, like there's like this idea of like money Legos or like things build on each other, right? Like Aave is like a borrowing lending protocol, but there's like so many projects that build on top of Aave because Aave is so trusted and they're blue chip. So Aave accrues value and stuff like that where people like want to work together, right? Like if you're a new project, you want to work with like Aave or Chainlink because it gives them like more like social recognition and stuff. And the cool thing about crypto is another cool thing is that you can actually talk to the team members, right? Like if you're researching a stock, it'll be really hard to like talk to like the higher ups. But with crypto, you can join a Discord where like there are all the team members, like they're just like talking to the community every day. You can join a Telegram where you can interact with like other holders and other people that really believe in the project. And just because if you think about it, like you and I and like everyone probably watching this, like we all want to learn, right? And
Mm-hmm.
we all want to like talk to people because I think we're like social creatures. And
Especially with this pandemic where we haven't really been able to talk to people
yeah,
in
so
person.
it's been because I'm pretty introverted and like I kind of say to myself like Connor, Steven, and you all reached out to me, right? Like I kind of have a hard time like reaching out to new people because it's like I don't know, like I'm just introverted and like I don't know. I guess I fear rejection, which doesn't make sense, but it's how it is. But yeah, like when you reached out, like I know who you were, like I was like, who the fuck is this guy? But you know what? Like I'll talk to him, like because I want to talk to people and I want to learn. I want to build off of our knowledge, like your knowledge, and you can build off my knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
And you met some of my friends, and like
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure like you built your knowledge off of them too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really important to be active, try to meet as many people as you can, because crypto like there's like hundreds of projects every day. I feel like that like pops up on my Twitter feed, and it's impossible to keep up.
Oh my.
Like I, I think it's a mistake to try to keep up with every single thing because you're just gonna like I think you're just gonna overtrade and like you're just gonna like get wrecked like in terms of like I think you'll like underperform ETH if you overtrade and stuff. But if you have like a community, then out of the like everyone can have like, hey, like I thought this was interesting. Can you take a look
Mm-hmm.
and we can talk about it, you know? And Connor reached out to me. He's like, oh, here are two projects that was cool. Can you read up on it and let me know your thoughts? I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay. And I read up on them. And I was like, yeah, these two products are complete garbage. Like, don't. And he was like, okay, that's what I thought too. I just want to do your thoughts and stuff like
Yep.
that. It's like, it's good to like, because you could like have a project that you think is like really good, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they'll send it over to you and be like, yeah, but like, have you considered this? And I'm like, oh, I guess I haven't. So I guess I should do more research. That's the kind of thing with Woo. Like I was like really getting to Woo trade because I think it's has potential,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing all this research. I was like getting really hyped about it, And then I showed it to like my friend Steven, who
Mm.
has a traditional finance background. But he's like, wait, what about this and that and this? I'm like, okay. And then I showed it to you, and you were like, oh, there's this thing called Orion Protocol. They do similar things. I'm like, oh, like I guess they don't have a monopoly. So I guess, I kind of need to rethink my thesis. Uh, I think it's really important to like talk to people because
Yeah, they could show
like
you what you may not see.
yeah, exactly. And I'm sure like you tell me your shitcoin portfolio, and I'm like, yeah, like I would never touch that, you know. And maybe that ends up helping you, or maybe it doesn't end up helping. I don't know, but it's good to like always have like the other side of the argument.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like there's three people in the ecosystem of crypto. Like, so there's like investors, which are people that buy long term, ETH, Bitcoin, probably mainly, maybe
Yeah,
Link. And then there's like traders. So like, people who just buy based on the chart or technical analysis.
yeah,
Maybe they consider fundamentals a little bit. And then there's like also the users, like people that actually participate in the ecosystem. So I feel like I do all three just because I want to be as well rounded as possible. And I lack, a technical. That's what we need. We need to find a guy who we can be like, hey, does this code look good? Like, so we don't get rug pulled or something.
yeah. The way I filter out those is like I just don't invest in like anything below like $100 million market cap. So like I don't even have to audit the code. I just like know like if a project is big enough, then like and the community is like legit and the founder is legit, then like I don't have to worry about like rugs.
Yeah, I will. Well, I don't even necessarily just. I want to be able to understand it myself to a degree,
Oh yeah.
so that
Long term is a
because
whole.
sometimes, yeah, because I mean, Mark Cuban even talks about he's learned AI a little bit. That way, he can like kind of filter out the people who are just throwing out buzzwords. Because that's another thing. Like this chain may have a new like consensus algorithm, like, but is it legitimate? Like, Solana. I was reading on that, and they have like proof of history. And then I was going through it, and it had graphs and like stuff that I didn't really understand. So I'm like, I don't really know if this is like legit or if it's just like fluff P90. But then, I think somehow we started talking about Solana last night. So that kind of gave me a little reassurance that, maybe it isn't such a P90 or like kind of like a fluff as I was like, I was kind of, what was it? I don't know the word, but I was kind of like, yeah, a little scared, like not scared. I don't know the word, but a little suspect. Yeah, like a little suspect, like a little hesitant.
Yeah.
So it's
And
always good to, yeah, that's what it comes down to. Like you'll learn about something. Like I mentioned that ETH box. I mean, I knew it was like kind of terrible, but I just wanted to write out some kind of thesis and then get some feedback. Um, But I didn't reply to you in the Telegram or the Discord. But one thing I would say is the only competitive moat that they could build is if they had like partnerships, like, kind of like the same way that Link, because what gives Link their competitive moat? I would say probably their partnerships with all the other protocols, right?
yeah, Link kind of monopolized the entire Oracle space. I think this closest competitor is like Band Protocol.
Yeah.
But like at the end of the day, like if you want an Oracle solution, like you should just use Chainlink. Like why would
Oh,
you
for
use
sure.
anything else? Because like we all know Chainlink's the best at it, and I mean, the team they
The
ship
moat,
products every single day. It's crazy. So
the
like you
moat.
can be like, oh, like Chainlink is like 10 billion market cap, and like Band Protocol is like a billion. There's more upside in Band, but if you think about it, like in actuality, like Chainlink is gonna just grow more because there's bigger. And that's like the argument I get. Like Steven, like my friend, he's like very bullish Uniswap, and but I make the argument that like I think Sushi Swap might be the better value play because uh, I think they're like a tenth of the or like a fifth of the market cap or a tenth or something, but like they generate a lot of fees. But he's like, well, like all the innovation happens at Uniswap, and like that's where the value is going to go. And I'm starting to like understand that more. Right? It's like,
Mhm.
would you rather invest in Facebook or would you rather invest in like Twitter or like next to Snapchat? I feel like Facebook is like a better risk adjusted uh, in terms of like risk adjusted returns. Like Facebook would do much better. You should always invest in like the best one, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
And that's a lot of it. I mean, that's a lot of it. Michael Saylor talks about that, but he just applies the whole. He just conflates everything, all crypto,
Yeah,
into one spectrum, and he says Bitcoin's the
but
one, nothing else.
that's a good use case though. Like Michael Saylor, like
Oh
because
yeah.
Bitcoin, he doesn't compare Bitcoin with Ethereum. He compares Bitcoin with like Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin Satoshi Vision, and like Litecoin. And he's like literally like
Oh, that's
Bitcoin
easy.
has like Bitcoin has destroyed everything else. Because I'm sure like 5 years ago you could have been like, or no, like in 2017 you could be like, okay, Bitcoin's this big, but like Bitcoin Cash is tiny, so I'll invest in Bitcoin Cash. But you would have done much better just buying Bitcoin, right? Because it's like a monopoly. Bitcoin monopolized like the store value of crypto assets. So that's also something like I always, in terms of like my investment thesis, like I feel like I used to invest in many things, but I'm trying to focus on like, okay, like in this sector, like which project will like monopolize it,
Right.
and I'll invest in that. So maybe that's, in terms of dexes, it might be Uniswap, right? In terms of like oracles, it'll be Chainlink, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
why invest in anything else? Stuff like that. Like in terms of like layer ones, like I'm just gonna focus on Ethereum because I think Ethereum is the best so far. And yeah, it's also good to like talk to like, because I'm like low key like ETH maxi when it comes to DeFi.
Yes, you are.
So so like it's good to like talk to like people that like use Polkadot and stuff. And I used to like not really look into Polkadot, but now I'm starting to like delve into it. I actually have like a tiny position in like something called HydraDX, which is like a DEX in Polkadot. So I'm like, you know what? Like I missed out on the dot token, but if Polkadot like becomes bigger than I think it will, then like this HydraDX can like give me insane multiples. So it's like a way to hedge like my position, right? It's like how people like buy Cardano for like an Ethereum hedge, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense even though like it's unlikely. Like why not, right?
Especially, yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, you should only be investing what you can afford to lose, right? So I mean, if you're applying that and it's not, you're not gonna like miss out on your next meal buying Polkadot, then it's like whatever, uh, as long as you can take that. So yeah, and yeah, you're definitely, I definitely think you are an ETH maxi, and I try to stay as level because my only concern is like ETH is not working. It doesn't work. Like it works, but it doesn't really work. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
there's
it
just
only works for like richer people.
yeah, and so there's just a lot of uncertainty, and obviously, like I do have my biggest holding is ETH myself, so I do recognize like that it is the clear winner right now, but I just think there's just too much uncertainty because like I've always said, there's a lull kind of in the whole space. Like you have Ether that just doesn't really work for everybody, and then you don't really have anything else. I mean, you have Binance Smart Chain, but I don't think that. I mean, it is working, but it just doesn't have what
It's
ETH
like
has.
centralized, right? And it's like
Yeah, it's centralized, but even taking that apart, like it just doesn't offer what is built on Ethereum. Like, it's there's like two or three good apps on BSC from what I know. So it's
yeah,
definitely not as exciting as, something like the apps on Ethereum.
yeah. You say I'm a ETH maxi, but in reality, I'm a Bitcoin maxi
Oh, okay.
still, because like Bitcoin is like a big chunk of my net worth, and I do think Bitcoin will hit 1 million at some point in my lifetime. I don't know when, but it can happen as soon as like 2 years, or it can happen in 20 years. Who knows? But yeah, I think a lot of people like underestimate how much Bitcoin can pump. And there's always this like meme of like, oh, like why would I buy Bitcoin when I can buy like $100 million coin, or a hundred
Hmm.
million dollar market cap coin, which I understand. Like I also invest in like tinier projects because I hope it can 10x this cycle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I have a bag of Bitcoin that I'll never touch that will eventually hit 1 million, and like I don't know, I because Bitcoin's it's a built product. It's a proven product.
Hmm.
Ethereum is not is a
Built,
relatively built product, but it's not proven.
right?
But I'm just like
And then
gambling in
yeah,
the Ethereum ecosystem.
everything else after that is kind of well,
It's fun.
yeah. Yeah, no. But because like in my philosophy is if ETH can get scalability and make it affordable for every retail person like me and you to use it like every day, a lot of times, and not have to worry about the gas fees, kind of like with BSC. I do think it is possible, and this will be fun. I do think it's possible for ETH to flip Bitcoin one day. I don't know when, but my philosophy is that look, if Bitcoin is just, I mean, it's not just, but it is just like it's if it's digital gold, like gold is just $10 trillion market cap. So if Bitcoin, I mean, what, and I get the, I don't know if I'm as a maxi as Michael Saylor. Like I believe I buy into a lot of what Michael Saylor says, but I just see. So I guess the philosophy is like, give me your philosophy. Let's start there. What's your philosophy on? Because like I'm bullish Bitcoin. Like I believe in Bitcoin, but I just think that ETH can flip it one day. So like because if it's just digital gold, it's gonna soak
Well,
in like there's certain
well,
asset
Bitcoin is
classes.
better than gold, right? And
Yeah,
gold is
yeah,
valued at 10 trillion.
yeah,
So Bitcoin will eventually be valued at higher than 10 trillion.
for sure.
Just
Just
because like gold is so inconvenient. Like no one
oh
uses gold, but like even though it just sits in the vault and like you can't do anything with it, it's still worth 10 trillion, which I think is like crazy, right? Like the
yeah,
collective market and like people on Earth collectively value gold at 10 trillion because
Bitcoin.
there it is, because it's scarce. You know that thing you're holding is scarce, so it's worth 10 trillion. But
Shit, I wish
like
this was
Bitcoin is that
really
thing that you're holding, but like it's digitalized and like you can hold like $1 million of Bitcoin like in a USB, where like you can't do that with oh, is that silver? Oh yeah, no, that's a ledger.
That's my ledger.
Yeah, like so like Bitcoin is just, and Bitcoin is like infinitely like, divisible. It's more portable. It's more provable because like that gold coin, like you can show me that gold coin, but like I don't know if that's real, right? I
Right.
know it's real, but like if like some rando gave me a gold coin, like I don't know if that's real. But if someone showed me their Bitcoin wallet and like they have Bitcoin, then like, oh yeah, you have Bitcoin. So
Yeah.
in that sense, like Bitcoin will flip gold, like for sure.
And
And it might be 15 trillion, 20 trillion. Because if Bitcoin hits 21 trillion market cap, that's $1 million Bitcoin, right?
yeah.
That's, but if you think about like how can either the asset flip Bitcoin? So let's assume in my bull chart case, like Bitcoin hits
Bitcoin
a
goes to
million
21
dollars.
million, 21 trillion or 21. Yeah, 21.
Yeah, because $500,000 Bitcoin is 10 trillion. So yeah, just multiply it by
Yeah.
two.
And as we
So
learned from Steven, obviously the more convenient something becomes, the bigger the total addressable market becomes. So he gave some great
yeah,
examples, with Uber and taxis and Netflix and
yeah,
Blockbuster.
because
Um,
he has a great thesis about like Uber, because like when Uber was first starting out, like people just looked at it like, okay, like what's the addressable, like what the total addressable market is, like taxis, right?
mhm.
Because like that's what Uber is trying to replace. But obviously, like it did, like Uber captures a much
Shit,
larger market,
fast.
because like
Come
now you're creating like a new job that like people can like do anytime, so that you create more income sources. Like I like 20 years ago, like people only use taxis to like get to airports and stuff, right? Like go far. But now you can use Uber to like pay $5 to go like like a 10-minute drive.
Mhm.
Like, and now Uber has Uber Eats, so it's like all these like new markets Uber opens up. So anything that like takes like a really old like traditional like legacy system and like digital, like makes it digital, you make it more convenient, you make the experience better, and you lower cost, like that's gonna like improve on anything. So like Bitcoin, like it takes something like in the physical world, which is gold, like it digitizes it, and you remove the friction of like having to carry it around. Like if you're a central bank and you want to move $1 trillion of gold, like how the fuck are you gonna do that, right? You're gonna like
That's
put it on a boat or
expensive
something.
shipping. Yeah, a lot of
You're gonna put
counterparty
it
risk.
on, but like what if that boat explodes, right? Like then you just lose all that money. But with Bitcoin, you can just like send it. So
Mhm.
like I'm not bearish either. Like I still own a lot of like Ethereum like DeFi stuff, but like I don't understand how Ether the asset goes to like $21 trillion. You know? I just can't imagine a world like that. Like I can imagine like I can imagine myself using Ether to like as like my own bank, but $21 trillion is a lot of money.
Yeah, but how big is well, you said banking because yeah, I think that's a philosophy. Well, look, if all the dApps being built on, and maybe this is flawed, but if all the dApps being built on Ethereum, if that replaces all these traditional institutions like insurance, banks, Wall Street, maybe even, like if all that's on top of Ethereum, what does that make Ether worth?
Yeah, I mean, these are all like what ifs. Like in a perfect scenario, like Ether like rules the world, but I mean, you can take like
Assuming it fixes itself. So there's a big asterisk, assuming it becomes
it's
scalable.
like it's like a friend pitches you an idea of a startup, and it's like, oh, if we can do this, like we're going to be the biggest company in the world. But like the likelihood of that is like near zero, and the likelihood of Ether taking over everything the financial system does is like near. I think it's near zero. I think Ether can like I think like lending and borrowing, I think Ethereum can like displace like most like traditional finance.
Hmm.
But like I find it hard for like either like DeFi to like overtake every single aspect of finance. I think some things don't have to be decentralized, you know, like some things are should be centralized.
No, for sure.
And the Ethereum blockchain, the value of the blockchain and the value of Ether, the asset, are completely different, right?
Mm.
So I can see like maybe the total value locked on Ethereum can hit like I don't know like a trillion, but
Hmm.
like at some point like right now everything's correlated because like oh more money on Ether, oh my god Ether is more valuable, but at some point like I feel like because Ether the asset is just like it's a gas to like
Right.
secure the network, so I don't know how like are you predicting that like at some point like one Ether costs like $10 million and
No.
like we have to own like a millionth of it to like transact.
Well, if you think about it, it's more like our dollar. So, yeah, it is the currency of the Ethereum network, right? But it's also more like our dollar than Bitcoin because it's inflatable, right? There's no hard cap on Ethereum. I know with EIP 1559 it's gonna implement some sort of deflationary, but it's not gonna make it completely deflationary. So I just think, and this like the flipping ETH or the big ETH flipping Bitcoin, I mean, it's definitely far-fetched. So I'm glad that we're just talking it out.
Yeah,
Because like I said, I mean, the first if that has to be solved is scalability, first of all, for
yeah,
even anything, and they haven't been able to fix that yet. So,
and the
but
monetary policy they have to. It's
yeah,
you can't value Ether because they still haven't figured out their policy. Like I think like a year ago they like reduced the block reward. I think they reduced the block reward twice. It was
yeah,
like from 6 to 3, then 3 to 2 or something. And now
right.
they're trying to like burn like some part of the transaction.
Hmm.
And I'm sure like in a year or two they're gonna like add some new feature of like, okay, like let's try this one. And I mean, they'll figure it out at some point, and then it might
So
be like a crazy model.
So it's
But
definitely
yeah,
no, more dynamic and
yeah,
relatable to the central bank than Bitcoin. It like because central bank or like Bitcoin is gold, right? Like in the real world,
yeah,
and that's not very dynamic. It's pretty simple. Now we can agree that because it's digital and becomes more convenient, that it'll have a bigger market cap. But after that, I mean, I guess it's hard for us to imagine the market cap because we don't know. But
yeah,
how big? I know Michael Saylor seems to think that Bitcoin will go to 100 trillion one day.
yeah. That's
Um,
insane.
yeah,
5 million $5 million
yeah.
Bitcoin.
So I mean, I know, but that's not even like we know the derivatives market is the largest market. I know he's talking about like Bitcoin gobbling up gold, maybe gobbling up like bond yields and treasuries, like
Yeah,
government assets, and then other negative yielding
yeah. 100
bonds
trillion
and
is
things like
insane.
that.
That guy is just pumping his own bags. I don't think that's possible.
Yeah, like you would have to think,
But
what the heck would it have to eat to get to 100 trillion?
well, I guess for Bitcoin to get to 100 trillion, then like modern MMT must be in place, right? Like,
Yep.
and the Fed must be like printing like $2 trillion a month, or like
Yep.
like that kind of world. Like, if we happen to live in that world, then like, yeah, owning Bitcoin will be like the best thing in the world, because like, fuck, the dollar will be like
Well,
a piece of
it
shit.
already is the best thing in the world, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It actually is. Yeah. But you made a pretty cool comparison of like Bitcoin just being like, if you compare it to like what the current
Mhm.
financial system, it's like Bitcoin is gold, but it's
Mhm.
better, and Ether is like the
More dynamic.
dollar,
Yeah.
where with a dollar, the Federal Reserve, like old people in DC like figure out what happens. But right now with Ether, it's like young engineers
Mhm.
with the Ethereum Foundation figures out what happens.
Mhm.
And it's, you can't really argue one is better than the other, right?
For
Because
sure.
like, fuck, like the
They have their
Fed, like,
place.
yeah. But so
So in that comparison,
yeah,
where does you said it's cool. So
yeah.
yeah,
I never
it
thought
makes
about
it
it like that.
yeah, so it makes yeah, if Ether is the currency of Ethereum, then that makes the Ether Foundation the Fed, which but it's a little more decentralized, right? Because people
In the
still have to
future,
vote.
yeah,
Because it's they people still have to vote on their proposals. Like they can't just like EIP 1559 had to be voted on by the community, right? It wasn't just executed or like
yeah. Well, like right now, like the Ethereum Foundation can do whatever the hell they want, because like the majority of like the power is to them. But in the future, the hope is that with proof of stake, it'll be more decentralized, right? Uh, I mean, every application on Ethereum is like, right now it's like centralized, right?
centralized to a
Like
degree. Yeah.
the founding team member can like, or like the team members can like just vote on anything, and like they can like bypass what the community thinks about. But in the future, the hope is that, everything will be a DAO, a decentralized autonomous organization, where token holders vote on aspects. And yeah, maybe DAOs are like the next big thing, like, who knows? But yeah, I mean, I'm very bullish Ether. I think, like, I mean, I wouldn't be making content, whether it be this podcast or my YouTube channel, if I wasn't bullish. But like, for now, there's like a lot of unanswered questions, which is like one of the reasons you like invest in other like ecosystems, and
Mhm.
that's totally reasonable. Like, and I guess that's like a wait and see. I
For
think
sure.
but in this bull market, like in this particular one, like Bitcoin is the rising tide that lifts all boats.
Mhm.
So as long as Bitcoin is very, very bullish, like everything else will like go up, right? Whether they deserve it or not. So I think this market itself is like a pretty easy one to play, right? Because like, I mean, if you're invested in crypto and like you held, like you're up a lot of money. um, but maybe in the future, it's like each like different sectors will like move differently, right? Like
Mhm.
like if Ethereum can pump when Bitcoin is in a bear market, like that'll be insane. Like I'll be like super excited when that happens. But right now in this current environment, if Bitcoin enters a bear market, like every crypto is gonna like have like a minus 80%, right? Even if they have amazing fundamentals. So I wanna see like whenever like that diverges, like that'll be great. Like in the stock market, like it's not like last year with COVID, like all the tech stocks
Oh
pumped,
my
right?
god.
So like you can just, if you invest in tech, you would have done well.
Oh, you froze on us. Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
You froze for a second there. You were talking about
Okay, okay.
the tech stocks. They stopped you from pumping.
Okay, okay. Well, like last year you could just bought tech stocks. You make a lot of money, but in 2021, now the best stocks are like banks and like airlines and stuff like that. So to make to outperform the S&P 500, you kind of have to like, be really, you have to follow the markets a
Pay
lot, right?
attention. Yeah.
But in the crypto markets, you can
Mhm.
just buy anything and it'll go up. So it's
Mhm.
like it's like a really immature market where like Bitcoin will just like pull everything up with it, you know.
Well,
which just means that we're still really, really, really early.
there did seem to be a decentralized cloud storing wave this week. Did you see that with the
Oh,
Filecoin and I think there's a couple different like
yeah, I think
Filecoin
Storage
related.
A or something.
Yeah, storage, Golem, some random. That's one I sold for Bitcoin this week. Moved those at like 4x, and I moved it into Bitcoin. So whatever. So I was thinking about dumping my Filecoin, and I know Arweave pumped, but yeah, there seemed to be that was the flavor of the week apparently for crypto.
Yeah, I feel like crypto has like its own like cycles. It's like when Bitcoin pumps, like everything like doesn't move and like it just watches Bitcoin go up, and then Ether pumps. Like I think like 2 days ago, like Ether was pumping, but like every other coin was just like flat or like
Sideways,
negative.
yeah.
It's just like watching Ether go up because everyone's like buying Ethereum. But now I think what will happen is like when Ether stops pumping, then I think the profits will flow into altcoins and we can have some alt season. Like January was a crazy alt season. Like we had things 5x in a month. Like I was like, what the hell? Like I never would have imagined like they would hit $500.
Oh
But I
yeah.
was like, so I'm just hoping for like this. Maybe it's in May, maybe it's in June, maybe like it's next week. But just like a period of time when everything has like a 30% day, like that'll be pure dopamine, and that would be like, yeah,
That
I'll
might
be
be the
so
top.
euphoric.
Maybe. I don't know. Oh yeah,
Yes.
let's talk about that. The top. How do you know when to buy the top and when not to buy the top? Because sometimes buying the top isn't a bad idea, but sometimes it's a terrible idea. How do
I
you
mean,
just decipher? Do you?
so I'll just fix your linguistics. Like when you say the top, you mean like all-time high breakout, right? Like because a top, when you say the top, it just means like definition of a top is like literally the top, like where like it
Oh,
doesn't go
sorry.
up,
Yeah, the all-time
right? The
high.
all-time high breakout.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think if you want to buy the breakout, you just have to like look at like I think you kind of have to look at the fundamentals, like
Mm-hmm.
because if like this $1 billion coin is like pumping past its all-time highs, you kind of have to have context on like, okay, what the hell does this thing do and like what makes it valuable. And if it's like $1 billion coin that you think can go to 10 billion, okay, yeah, then just buy the all-time high breakout. But if it's like, I
A
don't know,
random shit coin.
then maybe you shouldn't buy. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that you can't make money, but some breakouts have better risk rewards, right? I think you have to think about everything in terms of risk reward. It's like, imagine like some random noob walks up to you and says like, why would I put my money into Bitcoin when I can buy like this $5 million market cap and like dump my entire life savings into it? Because theoretically it can like 100x. Well, I mean, yeah, it can, but if you think about risk reward, like that's total
It's a
like
one to one.
stupidity.
Yeah.
No, it's not 1 to 1. It's
It's a
like
1-to-1 risk reward. Like he could make 100% but he could also lose 100%.
no, but his argument is that it can 100x, so the risk reward is 100
Oh,
to 1.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
But you can't think like that because the probability of that happening is probably below 1%, right?
Right.
So it's probably like 0.5 to 1, and that's like an awful bet. But with Bitcoin, like we all know, Bitcoin's going to 6 fix, so it's like a 3 to 1 risk reward. So yeah, I think that's a good way for like newer people to think about like what's my risk, what's my reward.
Mm-hmm.
Because if all you do is like buy things that are like being hyped up, then like you're probably not going to do that well. And
Or you might do well, and if you never exit, you will not do well.
yeah, and like if you don't know what the value is, then how do you exit?
Yeah.
And that was and this is like what I think in terms of like bull markets, I think everyone should compare like their return to Bitcoin, because imagine me, right? I spend a lot of time researching like crypto and like DeFi, and like I like have high conviction bets, like I invest accordingly. But like so far, like I feel like I would have done better just holding Bitcoin, right, in
Yeah.
2021. And the cool idea to like try to rationalize this is like, okay, so you're spending a lot of time researching and investing in trading,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you get like a 300% ROI this year, right?
Right.
But what if you have like this crazy like dentist, right? that like knows nothing about crypto, but like buys Bitcoin and he gets 500% ROI, then you like literally fucked up because like you spent like all your time researching to make less money. Whereas this guy who's like, I don't know, like having fun with his family, like building relationships, like earning a job, is making more money than you. That's just because he bought Bitcoin, you know? Like you don't want to you don't want to underperform like the ignorant boomers. Like
Yeah,
that's
that's a terrible feeling.
yeah, because you can't just be like, oh my god, I bought the shitcoin, I made a lot of money, I made like 80%, I'm so good. But if Bitcoin went up 200%, then you're an idiot.
I think,
You have to think about your returns in Bitcoin. You have to outperform Bitcoin if you're like trading.
yeah, that's definitely the standard. I think another reason like I'm so like that I buy other like altcoins is just because me personally, I'm just excited about the vision of crypto and like like we always talk about the long-term adoption. So like I want to see stuff, like I want to use stuff like, so like I buy stuff that I like use, like, or I want to use, you know what I mean? Just because I support, like, it's kind of like me supporting the vision, I guess. So it maybe not be the best investment as far as generating alpha and returns, but it's just me like being a part of something. That's kind of like my emotional side of myself.
I feel like I feel like you're lying to yourself there, because I think if you're investing in something, it's not because you want to use it. It's because you want the coin to go up. If you want to use it, you would just use it and not buy the coin. Like, but if you're buying the coin, you just think it'll go up. So
Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
wouldn't.
So
That's
that's
a
probably
very
a better
flawed way to
way.
think about it.
Yeah, I would yeah, I'm glad you said that. I definitely invest things because I want it to go up, but I guess I do, and I'm glad that we have this conversation. See, that's why we're connected.
Yeah,
Um,
because I think that's like a if you're investing in a coin that's like doing okay, but you're like, okay, like I like this coin and I like what they do, I want to support it.
I like to
Then
stonk.
yeah, I just want to support it. Then like, okay, like I don't think that's like the. I mean, if it goes up, then great. But like, if you want to just support the project, then you should just use it instead of like buying their like random governance token, right?
Right. That makes sense. I wouldn't say that's 100%. Like obviously, I'm probably more profit driven than like emotionally driven like that. But
Uh-huh.
I just am super like excited about just the whole space. So that's why I like to look at different projects and see what different solutions are being created and things like that. So
Yeah.
that's why I have friends like you to keep me in check. Community.
Yeah. I mean, for
Community.
me, I'm very excited, right? Like, I'm very excited about projects, but like, there are many projects that I'm excited for, but I would never buy their coin because I feel like their tokenomics are complete garbo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, for example, like Latentry, like, I'm very excited. Like, I think it can be huge, but like, I know nothing about their like token economics. So like, how can I buy that
Right.
thing?
Sweet. Well, awesome. I think are we about an hour?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. That was a good
Sweet.
conversation.
Awesome. Yeah. That was pretty anyways. Oh, hey guys. Forgot you're there. So yeah, hey, if you enjoyed this episode of the Crypto Convo, feel free, check out the links below. I have a Discord. Taiki, you're gonna have to get into the Discord as well. We'll get Steven. We'll try to get
Yeah.
Steven and stuff in there. Join the Crypto Convo, Discord, Facebook, whatever's easiest for you. So if you want to continue and just ask questions and just learn. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, hodl on.
Hold on.